In a galaxy teetering on the brink of chaos, a faint yet desperate signal crackled through the expanse of space, reaching the ears of the Intergalactic Coalition. This signal originated from Epsilon 7, a remote colony nestled on the outskirts of the Outer Rim, now besieged by a merciless alien warlord known only as Krovax. The colony's once thriving settlements had devolved into ruins, with panicked pleas for help echoing through the void. The urgency of the situation was palpable as the Coalition convened to assess the dire message that hinted at devastation and enslavement. The Coalition's leadership gathered in the main chamber of their flagship, the Unity. Commander Helena Voss, a seasoned strategist with a sharp mind and steely demeanor, surveyed her team. Reports flooded in detailing the siege's horrific toll, tens of thousands of lives at stake, innocent colonists enslaved, and the looming threat of total annihilation. "We must respond immediately," she insisted, her voice cutting through the murmurs of doubt that filled the room. Yet, the Coalition's forces were stretched thin, engaged in skirmishes across multiple sectors, and unable to muster the strength required for a direct assault on Krovax's forces. In the midst of the chaos, the idea of recruiting the most feared humans in the galaxy surfaced. As tension mounted, Commander Voss turned to an unorthodox solution: assemble the deadliest humans known for their relentless efficiency in combat. A plan was hastily drafted, targeting former soldiers, mercenaries, and renowned tacticians, individuals whose very names evoked fear and respect across the stars. Captain Morgan Steele was the first to be contacted. Once a leader of elite special forces, he was infamous for his strategic genius and unwavering resolve. Now, he lived in the shadows, haunted by the ghosts of battles past. A holographic message flickered to life before him, revealing Commander Voss's determined face. "Morgan, we need you. Epsilon 7 is in peril, and you're our best chance." The weight of her words stirred something within him, a sense of duty, a flicker of hope. With a resigned nod, he accepted the call to action, realizing that redemption was just a mission away. Next, the Coalition reached out to Raven Viper O'Shea, an enigmatic assassin known for her lethal precision and ruthless efficiency. Her reputation as a ghost on the battlefield was well-earned. She moved like the wind, silent and deadly. When approached, Raven initially hesitated, recalling the bloodshed and darkness of her past. However, the thought of innocent lives lost ignited a spark of determination within her. "Count me in," she replied coolly, a faint smile gracing her lips as she prepared to don her weapons once more. The call for help extended to Marcus Tank Sullivan, a former Special Forces soldier whose impressive physique belied a cunning tactical mind. Resilient and unwavering, Marcus had built a life away from the battlefield, yet the pull of duty was too strong. "You're asking me to dive back into hell, Commander," he replied, his voice a low rumble. "But if those people need saving, I won't turn my back on them." He began gathering his gear, the memories of past battles flooding back, reminding him of his unwavering commitment to protect the innocent. Dr. Ilara Voss, a brilliant scientist specializing in alien biology, joined the Coalition with enthusiasm. While her field of expertise leaned more towards analysis than combat, she understood the gravity of the situation. The urgency of the mission inspired her. "I can provide vital information on Krovax's forces and strategies," she declared, excitement evident in her voice. Her knowledge would be crucial in navigating the unknown threats that lay ahead, and she felt a responsibility to aid the colonists. Finally, Jax, the mechanic, Wright, a tech-savvy engineer with an innate ability to adapt and innovate, received his summons. He was known for his unparalleled skills in weapon modification and technological ingenuity. "You want me to fix a spaceship while fighting aliens? Sounds like a hell of a weekend," he joked, but the determination in his eyes revealed his eagerness to contribute to the mission. Jax began piecing together makeshift weapons and gadgets, ready to turn salvaged materials into tools of liberation. As the team assembled on the Coalition's flagship, the atmosphere buzzed with a mixture of tension and camaraderie. They exchanged war stories, finding common ground in their shared experiences and motivations. Yet, underlying the banter was an unspoken awareness of the stakes at hand. Each member brought their demons, their desires for redemption or revenge, and as they prepared for the impending battle, the weight of their mission settled heavily on their shoulders. The urgency of their task grew as they coordinated their plan. They would need to infiltrate Krovax's stronghold and devise a strategy to liberate the colonists, who were not only under threat of death but were also being exploited as resources for the alien warlord's sinister designs. They gathered around a holographic display, showcasing Epsilon 7's layout, identifying key targets, and discussing potential escape routes for the enslaved colonists. "Every second counts," Captain Steele reminded them, his eyes scanning the hologram with intense focus. "We strike swiftly and decisively. We can't afford to hesitate." As they prepared, doubts surfaced. Each member confronted the ghosts of their pasts. Yet they pushed through, fueled by a shared determination to rescue those who could not fight for themselves. With their strategy solidified and their resolve strengthened, they boarded their ship, the Valor, a sleek vessel outfitted with advanced technology and weaponry. As they blasted off into the stars, the weight of their mission resonated within them. The team of humanity's deadliest embarked on a perilous journey, propelled by the hope of salvation and the desire to confront the darkness that threatened to consume them all. In the vastness of space, with Epsilon 7 growing nearer, they each pondered the stakes of their mission. They weren't just battling an alien force, they were confronting their own fears and desires for redemption. With every passing moment, they moved closer to their destiny, ready to embrace the challenge ahead, knowing that the fate of countless lives rested in their hands. Their journey had begun, and they would face the darkness together. The Valor surged through the cosmos, its engines roaring with power as the crew prepared for the treacherous mission ahead. Inside the cockpit, Captain Morgan Steele and Jax, the mechanic, Wright worked in tandem, calibrating the ship's systems while keeping a watchful eye on their trajectory toward Epsilon 7. The sense of urgency was palpable as they navigated through asteroids and debris, remnants of battles fought long ago. As the ship pierced through the void, the team gathered in the briefing room, a cramped space filled with holodisplays and tactical maps. The atmosphere was electric, charged with anticipation and tension. Captain Steele addressed his team, his voice steady and authoritative. "Listen up. We're heading into hostile territory, and every second counts. The colony is in dire straits, and Krovax won't hesitate to eliminate any threats." Raven, Viper, O'Shea leaned against the wall, arms crossed, her gaze sharp and assessing. "What's the plan, Captain? We can't just waltz in their guns blazing. We need intel on their defenses and a way to extract the colonists." Dr. Ilara Voss, poring over data projected on the holoscreen, chimed in. "Krovax's forces are known for their brutal efficiency. They'll have patrols and security checkpoints throughout the colony. We need to identify their weak points before making our move." She highlighted several key locations, detailing their layout based on intercepted communications. "I can run a biological analysis on their soldiers and develop countermeasures to exploit any vulnerabilities." Marcus, Tank, Sullivan nodded, his expression serious. "We'll need to split into two teams. One for distraction, the other for extraction. If we can draw their attention away, we might stand a chance to get in and out without too much resistance." His experience on the battlefield made him a natural leader, and the others recognized the wisdom in his approach. Jax leaned forward, a mischievous glint in his eye. "I can rig up some diversionary devices, explosives that'll create a distraction, allowing us to slip in undetected. But I'll need some time to assemble them." His fingers danced over the console as he began crafting the devices, multitasking with effortless ease. The sound of machinery whirring filled the air as he worked quickly, the pressure on him mounting. As they discussed their strategy, the ship's proximity alarms blared. Captain Steele shot a glance at the readouts. "We're entering the Epsilon 7 system. Prepare for landing." He maneuvered the Valor into a stealth approach, cloaking the ship to avoid detection. The colony came into view, a vibrant mix of technology and agriculture now overshadowed by the destruction surrounding it. Smoke billowed from structures, and the sight of enslaved colonists forced to work under the watchful eyes of alien soldiers fueled their resolve. Once they touched down in a secluded area, Captain Steele gathered the team for a final briefing. We're about to head into the fire. Stick to your assignments, communicate constantly, and remember the stakes. We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for every life down there. Let's move out. As they disembarked, the weight of their mission pressed heavily upon them. The air was thick with tension, and the sound of distant clashing and shouting echoed through the barren landscape. Each team member could feel the gravity of the situation, but they steeled themselves, knowing they had each other's backs. Raven led the way, her senses heightened, scanning for threats as they navigated through the ruins. The team moved in silence, relying on hand signals and whispered instructions. Their first objective was to reach a vantage point overlooking the main labor camp where the colonists were held. As they crept closer, they could see the grim scene unfold. Krovax's forces patrolled the area, their presence a stark reminder of the power they wielded over the helpless inhabitants. Marcus, acting as the rear guard, caught sight of a patrol approaching from behind. "We've got company," he whispered, eyes narrowed. "We need to take them out before they alert the others." Raven nodded, a sly grin appearing on her face. "Let me handle this." She melted into the shadows, a whisper of movement as she positioned herself to intercept the patrol. With lethal precision, she struck, taking out the first soldier with a swift blow to the neck. The second never saw it coming, collapsing silently as she moved like a wraith through the darkness. The rest of the team watched in awe at her efficiency, their confidence bolstered by her success. "Nice work, Viper," Jax praised quietly, his admiration evident. "That's how it's done." With the area secured, they pressed on, approaching the labor camp. From their vantage point, they could see the colonists, their faces weary and hopeless. The sight ignited a fire within each member of the team. They couldn't allow this suffering to continue. Elara analyzed the camp layout through her data pad. "There's a control tower over there," she pointed. "If we can take it down, we'll disable their security systems and provide the colonists a chance to escape." Captain Steele nodded, formulating a plan. "Jax, can you get us inside? I can create a distraction at the entrance while you slip in through the back. Just give me a few moments." As Jax set to work, the tension in the air grew. Every second felt like an eternity as they prepared for the next phase of their mission. They knew the risks involved, but the thought of liberating the colonists propelled them forward. Once Jax finished assembling the diversionary devices, he placed them strategically around the perimeter of the control tower. "Ready when you are," he confirmed, his heart racing with anticipation. "On my mark," Captain Steele instructed, glancing at his team. 3, 2, 1, now!" The devices detonated, sending plumes of smoke and debris into the air, creating chaos within the camp. The guards rushed toward the explosion, leaving the back entrance unprotected. The team swiftly moved into action, their training kicking in as they navigated through the chaos. They slipped into the control tower, moving silently through the hallways. The sound of alarms blaring echoed in their ears, but they pressed on, fueled by adrenaline and the desperation of the colonists. Reaching the control room, Elara immediately began accessing the security systems. "I can disable the alarms, but it'll take a moment," she said, her fingers flying across the console. The screen flickered with data, and she worked with fierce concentration, knowing their window of opportunity was closing. Meanwhile, the sounds of the chaos outside began to intensify as the alien soldiers realized something was amiss. Captain Steele kept watch, his instincts sharp, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. "Just a little longer, Elara," he urged, glancing over his shoulder. The sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, and the pressure mounted. "Almost done!" she exclaimed, her eyes darting between screens. "Just a few more seconds!" As she finalized the sequence, the alarms suddenly stopped, plunging the camp into an eerie silence. "Got it!" Elara declared, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. "Let's move!" Captain Steele commanded, signaling for the team to exit. They navigated through the chaos, a mix of tension and excitement driving them forward. Their time had come to fight for the lives they sought to save, and they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. The chaos outside the control tower reached a fever pitch as alarms ceased, leaving only the sounds of distant shouts and the thundering footsteps of alien soldiers scrambling to regain control. With the security systems down, the team moved swiftly, each member executing their roles with precision. Captain Morgan Steele led the charge, his heart racing as they maneuvered through the wreckage, determined to reach the labor camp and liberate the colonists. They approached the main entrance, a heavy barrier adorned with alien markings. Marcus, Tank, Sullivan positioned himself against the door, ready to breach it. "On my signal, I'll blow this open," he said, his voice low and steady. "We'll create a path for the colonists to escape." "Raven, you're on overwatch," Captain Steele ordered, his eyes scanning the surroundings for threats. "Keep an eye out for any stragglers." As Marcus prepared to detonate the door, Jax, the mechanic, quickly rigged a secondary explosive to ensure maximum effectiveness. "Ready when you are, Tank," he said, adrenaline coursing through him. 3, 2, 1. Marcus shouted as he triggered the explosive. The door blasted open with a deafening roar, sending debris flying and creating a cloud of dust that momentarily obscured their view. "Go! Go! Go!" Captain Steele commanded, leading the charge into the labor camp. They surged forward, weapons drawn, the air thick with tension and the promise of action. The sight before them was grim. Colonists, chained and exhausted, worked under the watchful eyes of alien overseers. Fear and despair hung in the air, igniting a fierce determination within the team. Raven moved silently among the shadows, her eyes locked onto the nearest overseer. With a swift motion, she dispatched him before he could raise an alarm. The remaining guards, startled by the sudden assault, scrambled to regroup, but the team was already in motion, fighting with a relentless fury fueled by their righteous cause. "Free the colonists!" Captain Steele shouted, rallying his team as they fought through the camp. Marcus barreled through the remaining guards, his brute strength clearing a path, while Jax used improvised gadgets to disable weaponry and create diversions. The chaos became their ally, allowing them to capitalize on every opportunity. "Over here!" Elara called, directing colonists toward a makeshift exit she had spotted. "Follow me!" She moved swiftly, leading groups of enslaved individuals to safety, her heart pounding with urgency. As the team pressed forward, they encountered a wave of alien reinforcements. A group of heavily armed soldiers charged toward them, snarling in their alien tongue. "We need to hold them off!" Steele yelled, his voice cutting through the chaos. Raven darted into action, utilizing her agility to flank the advancing soldiers. She picked them off one by one, her movements a blur as she outmaneuvered the bulky opponents. Meanwhile, Marcus took a defensive stance, using his imposing stature to shield the fleeing colonists while delivering crushing blows to anyone who dared approach. "Jax, any gadgets left?" Steele shouted, narrowly dodging a blast from an alien weapon. "Just some smoke grenades," Jax replied, pulling them from his pack. "It'll give us cover." He quickly deployed the smoke grenades, filling the area with a thick haze that disoriented the alien soldiers. "Perfect!" Steele shouted. "Push forward!" The team advanced through the smoke, their resolve unyielding as they fought against the encroaching darkness. Elara continued directing colonists to safety, her heart swelling with hope as more individuals escaped the clutches of the alien forces. They moved deeper into the camp, reaching a central plaza that housed the remaining captives. The atmosphere was thick with tension, but Captain Steele refused to falter. "Gather everyone! We're getting you out of here!" The colonists, initially hesitant, began to rally around the team, recognizing the humanity fighting for their freedom. "This way!" Elara urged, her voice a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. As the team prepared to lead the colonists toward the exit, a powerful figure emerged from the shadows, Krovax himself. The alien warlord towered over them, clad in armor that gleamed ominously in the dim light. His presence commanded fear, and he surveyed the scene with a predatory grin. "Humans," Krovax growled, his voice a deep rumble. "You dare challenge me in my domain?" Steele stepped forward, his posture defiant. "We're here to end your reign of terror." Krovax chuckled, an unsettling sound that sent chills down the spines of the colonists. You think you can stop me? I will crush you and your pathetic species. The tension crackled like electricity as the team prepared for the imminent confrontation. Get the colonists out of here! Steele shouted to Marcus and Ilara. We'll handle this. Raven moved silently to flank Krovax, her instincts honed for combat. Jax readied his improvised gadgets, while Marcus squared off against the warlord, determination etched on his face. Krovax launched an attack, his powerful fists striking toward Marcus with terrifying speed. The ground shook as their clash echoed through the plaza. You're strong, human, but strength alone won't save you, Krovax taunted, his eyes filled with malice. Maybe not, Marcus grunted, deflecting another blow. But teamwork will. With Krovax focused on Marcus, Raven seized her moment, darting in for a strike. She aimed for a vulnerable spot, but Krovax was quick, retaliating with a swipe that sent her sprawling. Watch out! Steele shouted, rushing to help Raven regain her footing. Stay focused! We can't let him intimidate us. Jax deployed a series of flash grenades, blinding Krovax temporarily. Now's our chance! He yelled, and the team sprang into action, coordinating their efforts to overwhelm the warlord. With renewed determination, they attacked in unison. Marcus and Steele worked together, combining their strength and strategy to land powerful blows while Raven darted around Krovax, exploiting his weaknesses. Ilara provided vital intel, shouting out Krovax's movements and weaknesses, helping the team adapt on the fly. Aim for his legs, she urged. He's not as fast down there. As the battle raged, the tides began to turn. Krovax, overwhelmed by the relentless assault, stumbled, and in that moment, Marcus seized the opportunity to deliver a devastating blow that sent the warlord crashing to the ground. We can't let up! Steele shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Finish this! With a fierce determination, the team launched their final assault. Raven struck with lethal precision, targeting Krovax's vulnerable spots, while Marcus delivered the final blow that incapacitated the warlord. Krovax fell, his arrogance extinguished, leaving the team victorious in their battle for freedom. Panting and bruised, the team gathered around the fallen warlord, their breaths heavy with exhaustion. They shared a moment of triumph, knowing they had achieved the impossible. We did it! Steele breathed, his voice filled with relief. As the colonists began to regroup, the sounds of liberation echoed through the plaza. They were free, thanks to the courage and determination of the team of humanity's deadliest. In that moment, hope blossomed amidst the ruins, a testament to the strength of unity and resilience against overwhelming odds. As Krovax lay defeated on the ground, the team took a moment to catch their breath and process the victory they had just achieved. Captain Morgan Steele surveyed the scene, his heart racing as he watched the colonists slowly emerging from the shadows. Their faces, once marked by despair and hopelessness, now glimmered with the first flickers of hope. Everyone, listen up! Steele called out, his voice strong and commanding. We need to move quickly. The guards will soon realize Krovax is down, and they'll come looking for us. Ilara stepped forward, her expression serious yet relieved. We need to gather the colonists and organize an escape route. The southern entrance should be clear, but we must act fast. Marcus, Tank, Sullivan nodded, scanning the area. I'll help get the colonists organized. They need direction. He turned to the group of freed individuals, his imposing figure radiating authority. Follow me! We're getting you out of here! As Marcus rallied the colonists, Jax, the mechanic, began to rig up makeshift barricades from debris to slow down any potential reinforcements. I'll set up a few traps along the way to cover our escape, he said, his fingers deftly working with salvaged materials. Raven, Viper, O'Shea kept a watchful eye on their surroundings, her senses alert for any sign of danger. We need to be ready for anything. Krovax's forces won't just roll over, she warned, her voice low but steady. Steele moved to Ilara's side as she activated her data pad, analyzing the layout of the camp. Any updates on the security situation? He asked, concern etched on his face. They're still disoriented, but we can't count on that lasting long, Elara replied, her brow furrowed in concentration. If we take the eastern route, we can avoid most patrols, but we need to move fast. Let's go, then, Steele said, his voice resolute. He gathered the team, each member readying themselves for the next phase of their mission. Raven, take point, Steele instructed, motioning for her to lead the way. Jax and I will cover the rear with the colonists, and Elara, stay close to Marcus. You'll need to help direct them. With the plan in place, they began their descent through the camp, moving stealthily through the shadows. The atmosphere was tense, every noise amplified as they navigated the wreckage. As they reached the eastern exit, the team encountered their first obstacle, a group of alien guards standing between them and freedom. Hold up, Steele whispered, signaling the team to stop. Raven dropped low, assessing the guards' positions. I can take out the one on the left. Jax, if you can distract the others, we can make our move. Got it, Jax replied, pulling out one of his makeshift devices. Just give me a second. He quickly tossed a flashbang into the midst of the guards. The explosion of light and sound disoriented them, allowing Raven to swiftly eliminate the first guard before the others could react. Now! Steele shouted, leading the charge as they rushed past the stunned guards. The colonists followed closely, the fear of recapture pushing them forward. As they moved through the narrow corridors, the team maintained a steady pace, guided by Elara's keen eye for the safest paths. They rounded a corner and found themselves at the outskirts of the camp, a sight that filled them with renewed determination. But their relief was short-lived. From the shadows emerged a battalion of alien soldiers, weapons drawn and poised to attack. Ambush! Steele shouted, instinctively positioning himself in front of the colonists. Raven immediately took action, darting to the side to flank the soldiers. I'll draw their fire, she called out, expertly evading shots as she moved with precision and agility. Jax, deploy the traps, Steele commanded, urgency in his tone. On it! Jax responded, quickly activating the traps he had set up earlier. Explosions erupted, causing chaos among the alien ranks as they stumbled and fell, disoriented. Marcus charged forward, his strength and size a formidable barrier against the attackers. He barreled through the aliens, creating a path for the colonists to escape. Go! Get out of here! He shouted, his voice booming above the din of battle. Elara remained focused, directing the colonists towards safety as she shouted words of encouragement. You can do this! Keep moving! The team fought valiantly, each member drawing on their unique skills to push back against the overwhelming odds. As they battled, the realization of their collective strength began to dawn on them. They were not just individuals, they were a force, united by a shared purpose. With each passing moment, they began to gain ground, pushing the aliens back further and further. Steele, Raven, Marcus, Jax, and Elara worked in perfect harmony, their trust in one another solidifying with each victory. Finally, they broke through to the outer perimeter of the camp. We're almost there, Steele urged, adrenaline surging through him as he fought off the last of the remaining soldiers. Just a little further, Elara added, her eyes scanning for any remaining threats. As they reached the final checkpoint, they could see the vast expanse of wilderness beyond. Freedom lay just ahead, but it was guarded by a formidable alien sentry. We need to take him out, Steele said, assessing their options. I've got this, Raven said, a fierce determination in her eyes. Just give me cover. With a nod from Steele, Raven dashed forward, her movements a blur as she closed the distance between herself and the sentry. Using her stealth to her advantage, she slipped behind him and executed a flawless maneuver that incapacitated the guard before he could even react. Clear! She shouted, signaling for the others to follow. The colonists surged forward, pouring through the gap as the team provided cover. They raced into the wilderness, the thrill of freedom electrifying their spirits. Once they reached the safety of the trees, Steele turned to the group, his heart swelling with pride. We did it! You're all safe now. Cheers erupted among the colonists, a chorus of relief and joy that echoed through the trees. The weight of their suffering began to lift as they embraced one another, their spirits rekindled by the hope of a new beginning. Jax grinned, his face flushed with excitement. Let's get everyone to safety and regroup. We still need to ensure Krovax's forces can't retaliate. Right, Steele replied, his tone shifting to one of focus. We can't let our guard down. Let's move out. As they began to trek through the wilderness, the team felt a newfound bond forming between them and the liberated colonists. Together, they had faced unimaginable odds and emerged victorious. In the distance, the sounds of battle faded, leaving behind a sense of calm. The horizon stretched wide before them, promising a brighter future. The journey had not ended, it had just begun, but they were no longer fighting alone. As they moved toward safety, the stars above twinkled with a sense of possibility. Each step was a testament to their resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope could flourish, and together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The team had answered the call for rescue, and in doing so, they had become more than just warriors. They had become symbols of hope and strength, standing united against the chaos of the galaxy.